I'm Myra, 30 years old. And 2 weeks ago, at my own birthday dinner, my mother gave me a gift. I'll remember for the rest of my life. Picture this, 40 guests, a five-star restaurant in Boston, crystal chandeliers, the skyline glowing behind floor-to-ceiling windows. There's a cake in front of me, candles flickering. Everyone's smiling like we're in a commercial for a perfect family. Then my mother stands up, takes the microphone, and says the words that still make my stomach turn. Myra was adopted. As a tax benefit. The room didn't just go quiet, it froze. Like even the air was shocked. My sister Jenna burst out laughing like it was the funniest thing she'd ever heard. My father wouldn't even look at me, eyes locked on his plate like it was safer to stare at food than defend me. And my mother Patricia smiled like she'd finally won something. But what none of them knew was that I had an envelope in my purse, an envelope my grandmother left only for me, and by the time I opened it, my mother would run from her own party before the night was over. Now, let me take you back 1 month earlier. It was a Thursday night. Almost 8 p.m. and I was still at my desk at Harrison and Cole Architecture, reviewing blueprints I suddenly couldn't care less about. My phone buzzed, unknown number, Boston area code. I almost ignored it. But something made me answer. Miss Anderson, a man said, calm and professional. My name is Theodore Whitman. I was your grandmother's attorney. My spine straightened. Grandma Grace had died 6 months ago. Funeral done. Will read. Everyone cried the polite tears and went back to their normal lives. So why was her lawyer calling no? There's a matter I need to discuss with you, he continued. In person. It concerns documents your grandmother left specifically for you. And she was very clear no one else in your family can know about this conversation. My heart started pounding. Because Grandma Grace was the only person in my family who ever made me feel like I wasn't an extra. At dinners, when my mother's little jokes got sharp, Grandma would squeeze my hand under the table. Once, when I cried in her garden, she whispered, "You belong here more than you know." One day you'll understand. I never understood what she meant. Not fully. The next morning, I walked into Theodore Whitman's office mahogany furniture. Old leather smell, the kind of place where secrets sit comfortably. He placed a cream envelope on the desk between us, sealed with wax, stamped with Grandma Grace's initials. Ga. She prepared this 5 years ago, he said. Sound mind. Strong health. She made me promise to deliver it only to you and only after her passing. Inside were 3 things: a copy of a will, a personal letter, and a smaller sealed envelope. He pointed to the smaller one. Your grandmother instructed you not to open that unless it becomes absolutely necessary. She said you would know when. I opened the will first. My eyes went straight to my name. I hereby bequeath the Anderson estate, along with all property and contents therein, to my granddaughter, Myra Anderson. I stopped breathing. The Anderson estate. Grandma Grace's mansion, the house where every holiday dinner happened, every family gathering, every important event. The house my mother had managed and decorated for 20 years like it already belonged to her. This can't be right, I whispered. It's entirely legal, Theodore said. Witnessed by 3 independent attorneys. There's documentation. And the will goes public in 2 weeks. Your grandmother wanted you to have time to prepare. Prepare for what? His expression didn't soften. For how your family might react. That night in my small 1-bedroom apartment, I read Grandma's letter over and over. You are not a stranger. Myra, you are not some random child adopted for convenience. You are my blood. My real blood. The small envelope contains the full truth documentation, proof, everything you'll need. But open it only when you must. My hands shook as I stared at that smaller envelope. Still sealed, still heavy. I locked it away. And the very same night, my family group chat lit up. My mother's message. Big news. We're throwing Myra a 30th birthday dinner at the Sterling. Saturday the 15th, 7 p.m. Everyone's invited. I read it 3 times. My parents had never thrown me a party like that. Not once. For my 18th, I got a grocery store cake and a card with nothing written inside. But for Jenna? Jenna got the DJ, the photographer, the whole Golden Child production dot, so why now? A small, hopeful voice tried to speak. Maybe she's finally trying. Maybe this is different. But another part of me, older, quieter, smarter, felt the trap. 1 week before the dinner, I told my friend Lucas about the lawyer and the will, not all of it, not the blood part. He looked at me dead serious and said, "Don't go in empty-handed." So on the night of my birthday, I put on an emerald dress, held my smile like armor, and slipped Grandma's envelope into my clutch. The sterling was breathtaking. 40 guests. My chair in the center wrapped in ribbon, like I was some kind of trophy dot. My mother swept toward me, hugging me stiffly. "You deserve it, sweetheart," she said, using a word she'd never used on me before. My dad gave me a handshake, not a hug. Jenna stood in the corner, already filming with her phone like she was recording a reality show. Then I saw Aunt Helen, my father's sister. She hugged me for real and whispered, "Whatever happens tonight, your grandmother would be proud of you." My stomach dropped. Dinner started normal, salmon, polite laughter. I almost relaxed. Then my mother stood up, tapped the microphone, and the entire room went quiet on command. "Tonight," she said warmly, "we celebrate someone special. Myra is turning 30. Applause, smiles. I held my breath. Patricia continued, voice sweet but sharpened at the edges. "It feels like yesterday she came into our lives. And I've been thinking a lot about her journey, where she came from, everything this family has done for her." My father stared at his plate. Jenna's phone stayed aimed at my face. My mother smiled wider. "And I think tonight," she said, "she deserves honesty." Then she announced it. "Myra isn't our biological daughter. She's adopted. We took her in when she was 2. For tax benefits. A nice deduction." I heard someone gasp. Someone whispered, "Oh my God." Someone else laughed awkwardly because crowds don't know what to do with cruelty when it wears a smile. Jenna laughed out loud. My father still didn't look up. My mother turned to me like she was doing me a favor. "I hope you're not upset, sweetheart. But after 30 years of pretending, you deserve the truth." She wanted me to break. She wanted me to run. She wanted me to disappear, ashamed, quiet, erased, and for a second, my body tried to do what it had done my whole life. Go numb. Go small, but then I felt the envelope against my thigh and I stood up. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I just stood there long enough for the room to realize I wasn't playing my assigned role. I looked at my mother and said calmly, "You're right. It's time for truth." Her smile flickered. I reached into my clutch and pulled out the cream envelope. With J stamped in wax dot, you could actually feel the shift in the room, the way attention sharpened. "This," I said, holding it up, "is from Grandma Grace. Her attorney delivered it to me personally. She prepared these documents 5 years ago in perfect health with witnesses." My mother's face tightened. "Myra, this isn't the place. It became the place when you called me a tax write-off in front of everyone I know," I said, still calm. "So we're doing truth. Right here." I opened the envelope and lifted the first document. "Grandma Grace left me the Anderson estate," I said clearly. "The house, the land, everything." The room erupted in whispers. People looked at each other like the ground had moved. "That's impossible." My mother's snapped voice cracking. My father finally looked up, face pale. Jenna lowered her phone. "It's legal," I continued. "And it goes public in 2 weeks. My mother's hands trembled. She wasn't enjoying herself anymore. Then I held up Grandma's letter. "And Grandma Grace wrote something else," I said, voice steady but heavy. "She wrote, 'Myra, you are my blood. My real blood.'" That's when Aunt Helen stood, voice sharp with truth she'd carried too long. "Myra is Marcus's daughter," she said. "Richard's older brother. Grandma Grace begged Richard to take her in after Marcus died. Silence hit, again bigger this time, because suddenly, the story my mother built outside her charity case. Tax benefit collapsed in one sentence. My mother backed away from the podium like it had burned her. I looked straight at her. You spent 30 years making me feel like I didn't belong. But I do, and you knew it. Her mouth opened. No words came out. I didn't even need to open the smaller sealed envelope, because the room could already see the truth. The gift she gave me wasn't honesty, it was a weapon. And it backfired. My mother's eyes darted around the room, searching for allies, but no one moved. No one saved her. Not this time. Then, without a word, Patricia grabbed her bag and walked out. Not gracefully, not with dignity. She ran from her own party. Jenna scrambled after her, mascara already streaking. My father stood there like a man waking up from a long sleep, staring at me like he'd finally realized who I was. He stepped closer, voice breaking. Myra, I'm sorry. I nodded once. You should be. And then I did the real birthday gift to myself. I picked up my clutch, held my head high, and walked out of that restaurant with something I'd never had in that family cologne control. Because if they wanted an audience, they got one, but the person who left humiliated wasn't me. It was the woman who tried to destroy me and exposed herself instead.